Hello to you all, and welcome to Pyramid Energy. We're going to do a collective energy reading. I was actually trying to do a membership reading, and then I kept hearing, no, Gontse, no, collective, okay? So here we are. I'm going to lay the cards out on the screen for you to follow if you choose to. Please only take this message if it resonates. I know I don't often say that, but it always applies, and you'll hear from the beginning of when I start to describe the energy, whether it's falling into place for you. You can continue to listen after that, but if it's not falling into place for you, then be mindful of what you're taking in. Thank you so much. I'm speaking to someone who has gone through a shift in their attitude with regards to just how much they have grown, okay? You changed the way you have been looking at your journey. You've recognized what you've built out of your transformation. I'm referring to you as an individual, how you position yourself as you go out there. Someone who has internally up-leveled, recognizing themselves differently, okay, taking themselves more seriously with regards to your personal achievements, okay, and this is not according to how other people measure it, it is according to how you measure it. And so you've kind of adopted your own sort of type of barometer that tells you, I have grown a lot. In fact, you need a different kind of barometer because I see you in a context, in a set of circumstances that others could not actually stomach, let alone move through and actually find themselves on the other side of, okay? So you have conquered something big, and not just that, you have come through it more developed, okay, more sophisticated compared to before, okay? I'm now seeing you currently in your energy. I've got a lot of new start energy. So I don't want to say new beginning because we hear that so often. And I want to sort of say you are in the process of moving. However, there is something that was not a part of your life or was no longer a part of your life that you are in the process of opening up to. Okay. And so while you're on your journey, something new has sparked and you do not know what it holds, but you know that you are fully equipped to explore this new thing, this new area, and you are in the process of proceeding without a plan, without any indication that anything will work, but you know that you need to explore this for yourself. Okay? And I also see that you've recognized that you are attracting opportunities of a different quality. Okay, I see you feeling this. So you cannot see ahead, but you can feel something new has happened. Something different has happened. I am in the process of attracting differently. What this looks like is, you're a person who has had a lot of repeat events, same shit, different day. Something like you keep attracting the same kind of thing. You are in the process of manifesting, and what returns looks slightly different, but it is of the same quality. And so I see you having retreated, taken time in your retreat, getting used to the fact that, okay, you've retreated, and sometimes these things would still try to creep back in. And then you kind of accepted, okay, I've now retreated, and you went through this whole section of your life of growing and focusing your energy differently and, again, building. And you kind of now settled in that space, and now something new has sparked. Okay. So this would be different for everyone, but something new has sparked, and now what's returning is not the same as before. And so that's also what I mean by unknown sort of territory. Again, you know that you can do this. But what they're showing me here in the cards is that as you proceed, you're proceeding on feeling. You are proceeding based on a sense of peace inside. There's a sense of safety. You're able to recognize it because you found safety in your own body and safety in your own mind and heart. And so when it approaches from elsewhere, irrespective of what it looks like all around, okay, the things that, how it appears, how it sounds, all the physical things about it, you're not taking feedback from the physical. You are taking feedback from your internal, okay? And they're saying that you actually don't understand fully, you cannot fully grasp just how differently you are attracting. They're saying this is way more than you're expecting in terms of how far it is in quality compared to where you were before. And so let's say you took this break, and now on the other side, because you have changed and you have shifted, what is being returned is completely different. And they're saying that you should be very proud of yourself because you're having peace reflected back to you. And so a lot of your reactions in this space, a lot of the ways in which your body will respond, even the way you respond in terms of your words, you're so much steadier, and the steadiness is being received very well in terms of what I'm seeing. I'm sort of seeing this vision of a system that produces things, and it is able to produce things better based on the information that it is being fed. Okay, that's kind of what they're showing me. They're also showing me, and I'm seeing this in the Death card and the Queen of Cups, okay, just the coloring of these outfits, this red and pink. What did we say the other day? I mentioned friendly territory, friendly. Okay, so this is you going out into the world, presenting yourself, not sure what you'll come across, and they're saying, in terms of how you get this feedback and these responses, nothing's changed in terms of how this works. They're saying, though, that like your state of mind, your sense of peace, your sense of safety, it is visible, is what they're saying. It is actually visible out there. And so that's also why the world is responding differently. And so a lot of the pain that you were working through was not, I'm not saying you were intentionally wearing it, but it was also visible. A lot of the uncertainty, the absence of that sense of safety and the battle with peace, that was all visible. And so it's not always visible to someone's conscious mind, but it affects how they physically respond when they interact with you. And it also affects how they react to you. It affects what their mind then computes in terms of what is possible here. Okay. It's like a little bit of fight or flight that happens in other people subconsciously. Okay. And they're saying the same applies to you. So you are also part of a system that reacts to other people, etc. And so now we're having this situation playing out where we're attracting like for like, and the difference between, let's say, a couple of months ago or weeks ago, whatever that is for you, and now, the difference is that you were a bit closed before, not open to certain types of opportunities, okay? Like I said, you had retreated. Whereas now, you've opened up. You look like you want to receive. You don't look like you need to receive, but you look like it. You feel like it, okay? So now, you're calm, you're collected, you're peaceful, you feel safe, and you're open. And they're saying this is having a completely different result in terms of where you're going. I also see that your level of expectation in terms of where you're going is not high. That is the absence of need and desperation. You're in a really good balance. And you are actually, I'm seeing you, this is strange to communicate, but I'm seeing someone who is actually hungry to feel more. Okay, and so you are currently in the process of being open to feeling more. There's a lot that you understand, but there is little that triggers you. However, that section of your system that responds to triggers is the same section of your system that allows you to feel deeply and to respond to your feelings in a way that generates more feelings, right? So you have got to the point of feeling so safe that when something happens that would normally threaten your safety, you're fine. You're fine. In a certain way, I could describe this as like untouchable. Okay? But you want to be touchable. You're ready to be vulnerable. You're ready to feel more. And part of this is your understanding around how things that match your signature are attracted. Okay, so you wanting to be more open. This is your heart that you're wanting to open because it is the magnet that allows you to feel. So you are actually hungry to go deeper. And something else I'm also picking up is there is an energy of like, catch me if you can. Okay, this is not to say you're running, but this is to say that number one, you don't want to end up in any situation where your value cannot be appreciated. Okay, and actually the word appreciate is very much reflected in these cards at the top, Queen of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands, because you can see that this Queen of Pentacles understands her value and her ability to create and reproduce. Okay, this is very important. You are reproductive. What that means is not just productive out of effort. That means when you produce something, it multiplies. And I'm seeing that in the Eight of Wands. Okay, so you are aware of your reproductivity, and so you do not want anything that will block that reproductivity. You understand exactly what kind of environment would be required for you to maintain this sense of peace that has got you to this point. Okay, and in your subconscious, the Hanged Man and the Ten of Wands is showing me your sort of willingness to allow things to unfold, but also you're wondering whether this particular pathway that you're exploring is going to be the one that releases your burdens. This burden that I'm seeing here is not baggage you've been carrying as such. It feels more like, you see, wands are fire, and so it feels a lot about transformation. Will this be the opportunity that allows me to realize just how much I have transformed? Okay, so this is all about feeling. This is not so much about, I don't think that this is a material reading. I don't think that this is about money necessarily. Perhaps that comes up, but this is actually around you finding yourself in a different environment that allows you to realize more about yourself. Okay, for you to be able to celebrate further in the company of others, okay, or another. And I when I was shuffling, I kept seeing the Three of Cups, and I wasn't quite sure what was happening there. But that's what that is, in the company of others or another. That is, this is about new relationships, okay? This is very clearly about new relationships. It feels like you're ready to interact with a new person, place, or thing that is going to release more aspects of you and allow you to go deeper. I've been laying out more cards here, and what they're saying to me is to allow yourself to have a brave heart. Okay. You are brave in so many ways. You are courageous. Okay. But with this comes an armor that protects your heart. Okay. And we've talked about how you're wanting to go deeper. And I can see that in the area of what you want the most and fear the most, the Chariot and the Ten of Cups. You are afraid when it comes to your heart of falling into the kinds of traps you used to fall into. Okay. When you completely open up, vulnerable, falling into, you have been bruised before. But they're saying that you are attracting differently and you are aware of that. And so we're wanting to bridge the gap here of awareness in terms of, okay, so kind of you're linking a past result with a present circumstance, and those two don't go together. That's what they're saying. Okay. And they're saying that, you see here we have got the 10 of Wands and the 10 of Swords. They're right next to each other, even though they're in different positions. This is showing me, okay, it's indicating completion. I'm seeing relief. But I'm also seeing, in order for you to realize this, that's in your subconscious, this release of this burden, of this need to explore the side of yourself, okay, this transformation that you want now to realize through the presence of others. They're saying in order to do that, you're going to have to release your protective armor. There is a part of you, I see that in the King of Pentacles, there is a part of you, big part of you, that has got used to doing stuff on your own, that has got used to not needing anyone, anything, that has got used to a sense of peace, understanding that you can rely on you. Okay? And I'm speaking on all levels here, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, all of those things. Okay? I'm seeing that here, and they're saying that you've locked that away in the same place that keeps the part of you that wants to realize this feeling that you're after. Okay? And what they're saying is here, where you are, where you're going, do not underestimate the value of open communication, honesty. Okay? There are things that you know, things that you have experienced, things that you are aware of, that you have told yourself nobody else can kind of hold that. Okay, so there's a way that you hold space for yourself that you think you're the only one who can hold that space. And they're saying, no, this is what you are going out there to share. That's what I'm seeing, that in the 6 of Pentacles and the 9 of Swords. And so they're saying you are not meant to be void of fear. You are not meant to not have fear. Okay, so when you go out there and pretend that, you know, you're like the strong person, you can do anything for yourself. Okay, partly that's true. But there's something around human connection that you cannot do on your own. It's called connection. Okay, it's called connection. And they're saying that in order to connect, to open those pathways that bring what you want, through some of those channels is where fear flows, where we connect. I'm not talking about trauma bonding here. Okay, I'm not talking about bonding. I'm talking about leaving the channels open to express, to share. Okay, so this is playing out in two ways. I'm sort of seeing something that is, let's say, love relationship based, for example, a new friendship, but also I'm seeing work relationship here. I'm seeing a new opportunity, and so this can apply across various contexts, maybe more than one for you, maybe only one, whatever it is, however it applies to you. But what they're saying, let's say if this, we're talking about a work relationship, let's say even, for example, a job, okay? They're saying that you have this preconception, this possibly a misconception, that you have to present yourself a certain way, and that certain things that you have accepted as, let's say, uncertain, or things that would maybe make someone scared of you, or maybe make a situation scarier than it needs to be. You can tend to protect people from that information in a way that does not allow them to actually meet who you are for real. That's what they're saying. And so part of being authentic is actually also just being honest, allowing others to hold space for your honesty. Give them a chance. Okay, because when you close that channel where you could connect with someone in that way, you haven't just closed the channel for yourself, let's say for your outgoing information. You've closed the channel for them to return this favor. And I wouldn't usually use the word favor in this context, but it is a favor. Okay? Because to share your fears is also a gift. It opens space for another person's fears to be held space for. Okay? And so they're saying, be brave with your heart. This is a very interesting outcome. Okay? And I note that there are two cards here, the way they're positioned, that at first may appear scary. Let's put it that way. Okay? I've got the Strength card, the High Priestess, the Three of Swords, the Nine of Cups in reverse, and the Ace of Cups. When I saw the Strength card, I felt like this was a confirmation of Braveheart. Okay, what we've been talking about. Instead of hiding her heart away, locking it away, she's allowing it to be visible. Okay, to be brave. What they're showing me is that through this experience, you are going to be growing in just the way that you asked to grow. Okay, to go deeper and to realize these parts of yourself. Okay, because there's also a heart here, a big heart that's healing here in the Three of Swords. Okay, and this is not just your heart, this is the hearts of those around you. The High Priestess is showing me your expansion that you can expect out of this. When you open up your heart, and I think we touched on this before, when you open up your heart, you allow yourself to attract more, because your heart is a magnet, okay? And so that is attracting the right information, the relevant information that you can actually reinfuse into this healing. And so you're going to find this process very healing. Again, I don't want to fall into this trap of sounding like I'm talking about trauma bonding here. You know, when people come together and they basically, bond over their misery and their, that's not the actual point. But the point is that as people, we are constantly experiencing life. We are constantly working through our fears, because each new experience brings something that we do not know into our lives that we then work through. This is how we develop. This is how we expand, okay? And so the transformation never stops. It's just that you're transforming something different to what was there before, okay? And what they're showing me, especially with this Nine of Cups in reverse, is, and this Ace of Cups, it's like, this is the opportunity. The opportunity is to realize what you have to offer your environment, those around you, this new place, this new person or people or these things, this is the opportunity to recognize your value as well through others, to spread it, to share it, and to allow for that to happen for you in return. I'm also seeing another layer here, which is around understanding other people's needs, receiving information that helps you to work with them, that helps you to allow them to heal in your presence, because this is also healing for you. I'm going to leave this reading here. Just a last message. They are saying that you should enjoy this process. There is an internal world that you have where you do not take things too seriously. Okay? They see that. I see that. What just happened there is, it's as though it will be obvious if you remain closed. It will be obvious that there is a fear of showing something, okay? People are much more perceptive than you think. That's what I'm seeing through those words, okay? And so they're saying you have this inner world that doesn't take things too seriously, but they're saying let your guard down so that you can enjoy the process as you plan and as you execute. They're saying as you prepare and as you go through. That's what they're saying. So this is all in the process. This rediscovery, this journey that you're moving through. You think that other people need you to be all serious, and they're saying that's not, you're taking away from part of the process, part of the fun and the joy of the activity. Okay, that's it. I closed it and then I carried on. For anyone who's interested, my personal readings are open and I've left details below the video. I'll also invite you to see some of the titles in memberships if you're interested in those. Thank you all so much for being here. And I especially enjoy doing a reading when I've felt it calling me. I think those are the most fun and most intriguing. So thank you for the energy that you bring, each and every one of you, especially if you're still listening now. Sending you so much love.